Hey there, thanks for watching this video. I want to tell you a short story about something interesting that I found out after visiting a fourth grade classroom just a couple of weeks ago. Fourth grade social studies is a regional look at the United States. Students look at each region through the eyes of an historian, an economist, a political scientist, and a geographer. They start each region with a tour. And when I visited the classroom, one student was completing the tour of the Southeast. What you're looking at right here is the textbook tour of the Southeast, and you can see that there's different places that students read about. They go to Jamestown, Everglades National Park, Memphis, New Orleans, and a cotton plantation in Natchez, Mississippi. That's what caught my eye. What the student was doing was writing down the definition of the word plantation. And the book says that a plantation is a large farm. That's it. Ever since I read this book 2 years ago by Edward Baptist called The Half Has Never Been Told, I can't think about plantations as just plantations anymore. Plantations are more like slave labor camps, and that's a more accurate understanding of what these places were. But I want to know more about this one, this particular one in the book, this cotton plantation in Natchez, Mississippi. The textbook is a fourth grade textbook. They don't give any credits as to the photographer here. I think it does say that it was taken by Philip Gould of Corbus, but this doesn't say anything specific about this plantation. I want to know more about that house, who owns it, who built it, and what the history is behind it. So I'm going to highlight that title, right-click on it, and search, and see what I can find. Now, of course, if you're looking for a plantation in Natchez, Mississippi, you're going to find a lot of them, so that's not going to help me out. Maybe if I look at images, I can match the picture with what the picture is in the textbook. My first attempt wasn't too successful, so I took out the words and cotton and see if that image search can serve up a different set, and maybe I'll find it. So I found this one, which I thought was a match, and it turns out that this plantation is a bed and breakfast. That's the way it operates now. So my next stop was looking at the website of the bed and breakfast itself, and here it is, the Cedars Plantation. Now they describe themselves as a romantic park-like setting. They talk about the mansion and moss-draped trees, azaleas. This is the iconic understanding of what plantations were. This is what the popular memory is, and it's not really accurate, but I want to find out again more about this particular one. They say it was built around 1830. They have a name here. It started off as Cedar Grove Place. I'm going to highlight that and copy it because I think I'm going to be using that later. I'll look through this and find out that it was on the National Register of Historic Places. That's the next step. Now, I don't know how to find something that's on the Register of National Historic Places, so I'll just type in look up National Register Historic Places. And I'll find that it's operated by the National Park Service. And here's the access to it. The easiest way to find a listing is on their searchable table. Here's the table, there's the search box. Remember that Cedar Grove place I copied? I knew I was going to use it again. I'm going to paste it right there. And here it is, Cedar Grove Place. It was listed in 1979. The thing about National Historic Places is they always have to apply, and those applications are public. Here's this one. So if you click on that link and you look at the document itself, it's going to give us a little bit more information about the place itself, the address. Maybe later I'll look this up on Google Maps just to see what it looks like now. Here is a description of the real estate itself and the property. This is what you have to do to get listed on the National Register of Historic Places. You also have to include some of the history, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the first owner, and it says here that it started out as a one-story farmhouse built around 1830, and the builder was David Hunt, one of the founders of Oakland College and a wealthy landowner and planter of the region. A planter of the region. If you're a planter in the 1830s, if that's the word used to describe you, chances are you're a slave owner. But I can't see that here. Let's find out more about David Hunt. So the next step is opening another tab, putting in David Hunt's name and the word wiki, because I don't want to type all of Wikipedia and it'll still lead me there. So there's a bunch of David Hunts. That's not going to help. Well, I know that he was the founder of Oakland College, so let's throw those words into the search. And what do you know? There's David Hunt, the planter. When I opened up this Wikipedia page, the first thing that caught my eye, believe it or not, was where he was born. This guy was born in Trenton, New Jersey, right here in New Jersey. But he grew up to be quite wealthy, and he owned 25 plantations and had more than 1,000 slaves. He was one of only 35 millionaires in the United States. Now, I know I'm getting this information from Wikipedia, but I'm not writing a doctoral dissertation on this. I'm just finding out information to see where it leads. I'm going to go down into the references because I want to see if there's a link to any diary, primary source documents, maybe some letters, and what do you know? The Louisiana State University libraries have some letters. When I follow that link, it leads to a dead end because this document is just a listing of what they have. It's not any of the letters themselves. Since I'm impatient, I'm going to put this information into the search bar. David Hunt Letters, Louisiana State University. And this PDF is the document I was just looking at. That's the listing. But look at this underneath, David Hunt's letters. They don't have all of them, just 4 letters. I read through these, and I think the one that you might find the most interesting is this last one. Written in December of 1830, this is something that was written to David Hunt. And this man, the writer, is talking to him about 444 slaves. Someone he saw who was advertising 440 slaves. Apparently, the writer here, Peter Dickerson, is helping David Hunt find people to buy. Because remember, David Hunt owned more than 1,000 slaves. That's men, women, and children that he owned from birth to death. One other thing that caught my eye here, 2 sentences here. With respect to the woman that you mentioned, I am all out of heart of obtaining one that I could recommend. I know of 2 that I thought either would suit you, but I cannot obtain them on any terms. Now, we don't know what sort of women that David Hunt was asking for, and we don't know what Peter Dickerson meant by writing him this, but we do know a lot more about this cotton plantation in Natchez, Mississippi. And that only took a few minutes and a couple of good searches. I hope you found it interesting. I certainly did.